Hello everyone, dear students, this is Dr. Sanjeev Padvi, and today we will be studying a topic called agriculture in India. Dear student, this is one of the important topics from the point of view of examination, as well as it is very important topic in our day-to-day life because it is directly related to each and every one of us. Okay. Now, if the question is asked, what is agriculture? Okay. If this question is asked, what is agriculture? So the definition says that agriculture is a process, it is an act, it is a science of cultivating soil, preparing soil for growth of crops, okay, and not only growth of crops, but along with that, even raising animals, raising livestock. So agriculture is a process of cultivation of soil, growing crops, and raising animals. And why do we do this all things, dear students? The reason is we do this in order to grow the crops that are useful to us, not only in our day-to-day life for us to eat, but also producing the crops for industrial purpose. For example, we need sugarcane, a crop, dear students, for sugar industry. We need another crop called oil seeds for the oil industry. So in this way, we are growing these crops not only to get the food, but also to produce them so that they can be sent to the market and also be used for industrial purpose. So agriculture is an art and a science of what? Cultivation of soil for growing the crops and raising livestock. Okay, livestock, that means animals which provide additional income to the farmer. Now when we look at the agriculture as an occupation, we find that it has got so many multiple uses, so many important importances, dear students, in our life. Let us look at the importance of soil of agriculture step by step. The first and a very important work done by agriculture, it provides employment, it provides job. Please remember, our country India is agricultural country. So because agriculture is our main occupation, dear students, 67% people of our country directly or indirectly depend on agriculture to get their livelihood. Okay, directly means a person who is a farmer will get his income directly from farmer. What does indirectly mean? It means, now suppose there is a person who is a driver who is now carrying the food grains from the farm to the market. So this driver is indirectly depending upon agriculture to get his livelihood. Then a person who is involved in marketing, person who is involved in actually selling of the crops, they are also depending on agriculture indirectly. So this is how, when we calculate, we find that 67% people of our country depend on agriculture directly or indirectly. This is how this agriculture provide employment to a very large number of population of our country. Okay, that is the first importance. The second importance, agriculture provides tax to our government. Tax. This tax is needed for the development of our country, and India receives 27% amount of tax from agriculture alone. So agriculture in this way provide the single largest contribution to the tax department, and this is how it plays important role in development of our country also. Now the third importance, you already are aware that our population is second largest in the world. To provide food to such a very large population without importing from any other country, okay, is a very huge task. And thanks to agriculture in our country, which provides food to such a large population of our country, then agriculture also provides raw material to the industry. Example, sugar industry gets its sugarcane from farm. Similarly, cotton textile industry gets cotton from agriculture. Oil seeds are required for oil industry. Jute is required for jute industry. And in this way, we find that it is providing raw material to the industry. Then in industries, many people work, so they are in this way indirectly depend on agriculture, so it is related to employment. And also then after these products are processed, they are ultimately supplied to us and our needs are also fulfilled. Then dear students, our country is now excelled in cultivation of crop that we are able to provide food not only to our country, but India is now in a position even to export large number of agricultural products, and in this way our country gets a lot of foreign exchange. Here meaning of the word foreign exchange is we are able to get the money of other nations, and in this way that also contributes to the development of India. So dear students, in this way we find that agriculture is providing so many different sectors, okay, the resources required for their development, and agriculture is also playing important role in overall development of our country. Okay, now the products that are included in export, okay, they are tea, coffee, milk and milk products, even cotton and cotton textile. And by exporting them, as I said, our country earns a huge amount of foreign exchange. Now let us look at salient, that means special features of Indian agriculture. Okay, we can put these features, dear student, in 4 categories, or we can say that Indian agriculture has 4 major features. Okay, the first one is that Indian agriculture mainly depends upon monsoon. Please remember that India's 64% of agriculture depends on monsoon. That means it depends upon rainfall. Only 36% of our agriculture, dear student, have irrigation facility. Okay, only 36% crops in our country are having the facility of irrigation. Then second is India produces variety of crops. When we say the word variety of crops, that means India is able to produce cereals, that means food grains, oil seeds, fiber crops, and these variety of crops are grown in India thanks to the very vast area of our country. So why India is able to produce variety of crops? The reason is we have different climatic conditions in our country. Second important is a different climate, different topographical features. When we use the word here, dear students, topographical, here we mean to say relief feature. Relief feature, that means because our country is very huge country, so there is a variety in physical features. That means there is plains, there are plateaus, there are mountains. So plains are there, plateaus are there, mountains are there. There is a variety in soil also. So because there is so much of variety in climate, in soil, in physical features, therefore we are able to grow variety of crops. Lot of different types of crops are grown in our country, and these crops include cereals, that means food grains, pulses, that means dals, then oil seeds, fiber crop, that means the crops, dear student, which we use in order to produce fiber, that means thread, which is ultimately used for making clothes. Then we are also able to grow many commercial crops which are used for industrial purpose. These crops include cotton, sugarcane, tobacco, tea, coffee, jute, and so many other crops are also included. So India is in a position, dear students, to grow variety of crops thanks to the various climatic conditions, soil types, and relief features. You will look here and you will find that there are so many different types of pulses are there, different type of food grains, cereals, that means jowar, bajra, rice, nagli, variety of cereals means food grains I am talking about, variety of oil seeds, variety of pulses. There is lot of variety, dear students. Okay, just look at the variety of food grains also. A huge variety in food grains. Also we find that in our country there are variety of oil seeds. I told many types of oil seeds are also found, many type of pulses are found thanks to the variety in soil, variety in topographical conditions, and variety in climatic conditions also. Then the third important feature of our agriculture is preponderance of food crops, which means that in India we mainly grow food crops. Now, food crops are those crops, dear students, which are consumed as food. Okay, so 70% of our crops belong to the category of food crops. Okay, so if the question is asked why India mainly grows food crops, the reason is very simple and you must have guessed it. The reason is our population is so high, and in order to supply the food for such a large population, of course we will have to grow food crops. So 70% of our crops belong to the category of food crops, and 30% crops are commercial crops or cash crops. Cash crops means the crops that are required for the industrial purpose. Okay, like cotton, sugarcane is required. Then you can also say that these cash crops are grown in order to earn the profit. So cashew nuts, and you can also include jute in this category. So therefore we can say that mainly in our country we are growing food crops, and 30% of our crops belong to the category of cash crops or commercial crops. Okay, and the fourth major feature of our agriculture is seasonal pattern. Now, in our country, crops are grown in 3 different seasons. The main seasons, dear students, they are, first is Kharif season. Kharif basically means rainy season. Okay, so when does rainy season start in India? Right, it starts in June. It lasts till the month of September. Okay, and the crops which are grown during rainy season, that means from June to September, which may extend till October, the crops which we are growing during this time are called as Kharif crop, and it is the main season for growing crops in our country. And these crops, dear student, include groundnut, jute, sugarcane, cotton, bajra, jowar, rice, and many variety of crops, different type of crops that you see over here. Okay, they are grown mainly during Kharif season, that means rainy season. Then second season for growing crop is Rabi season. Okay, Rabi, or you can also say winter season, but we will be using this technical term called Rabi. Okay, now when you are growing the crops, dear students, from month of November to March, that means during winter, we call that season as Rabi season, and it includes wheat, barley, mustard seeds, tobacco, jowar. Now please remember, jowar can be grown during Kharif season also. Okay, so these are the major crops that we grow during winter. Now you might wonder that in India during winter, how these crops are grown when there is no rainfall. Okay, so you must have guessed it correct. We need irrigation in order to grow these crops. Okay, but Punjab and Haryana, these are the two states, dear students, which receive rainfall during winter time also. Okay, as well as this coastal region of Tamil Nadu receives rainfall from northeast monsoon winds, so that is good for growth of crops, and of course irrigation is also needed. And the third season to grow the crop is Zayad. Okay, it is also spelled Zayad. We can also spell it Zaid, which is basically summer crops. Of course, we will require irrigation facility, and during this summer time we grow groundnut, even rice, maize, vegetables, fruits. Okay, these are the major crops, dear students, that are grown during summer time. Okay, and the season is called as Zayad season. You can spell it Zayad, or you can also spell it Zaid, Zayad. Okay, then now we will look at the types of Indian agriculture. Types. Okay, now we can classify Indian agriculture as traditional and modern agriculture. Traditional. Now look here, the agriculture that is done by the simple instrument, okay, in a traditional way, this is traditional agriculture. Here you will find this is modern agriculture. Modern machines, drones are used for spraying the fertilizers, and you can find use of scientific techniques that will be, dear students, termed as modern agriculture. Then we will also find intensive and extensive agriculture. We will study that step by step. Then subsistence and commercial agriculture, and last one is sedentary and shifting agriculture. We will study all these terms step by step. Okay, so these are different types or categories of Indian agriculture. Now traditional and the modern we have already seen. Let us now go to this picture. Now what do you see? Okay, now when a farmer is going to grow the crops, dear student, with the instrument that you see here and the condition that you see here, you will definitely say this is traditional one. And when the farmer is going to grow the crops, he will be mainly growing it in order to supply the food grains to his family for self-consumption. He will not use these crops in order to sell, but they are grown in order to supply the food for his family. Okay, so this type of agriculture is called as subsistence type of agriculture. Okay, this is belonging to a category of traditional agriculture also. Look here, might use some pesticides, okay, dear students, in order to increase the agricultural production. I am talking about sedentary type of agriculture. Okay. Now, second category of subsistence agriculture is shifting agriculture. Shifting subsistence type of agriculture, where crops are grown to fulfill the need of the family. But here now the category is shifting. Now here meaning of the word shifting. Now look here. Okay. You will find this land in a forest is without any trees. So what they must have done? So they must have cut the plants over here. They must have cut the forest over here. They must have cut it, or they even may have burnt it. And now in this land, where the land is cleared, they will grow the crops. Now the crops here are grown maybe for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years, and later on the farmer will leave that land. He will go away from there, and he will clear the land at another place. Now why he is going to leave the land? The answer is very simple. When you look at the land over here, now this land does not belong to him. Now therefore the farmer may not take a very good care of this type of agriculture, because he is simply depending on nature for getting the agricultural production. That means he is directly depending on rainfall, no use of pesticide, chemicals, nothing is there. The crops are grown by a very natural method, and therefore the production is also very, very less. But when the farmer is going to carry out shifting agriculture, he has to cut the land over here, cut the forest over here. That is causing environmental damage. It is causing ecological damage, and therefore our government has now banned this agriculture. In shifting agriculture, farmers select a piece of land, he cut the trees over there, or he burn the trees over there, he grow the crops over there. After 2 years, 3 years, the soil will lose the fertility, then the production of the crop will not take place properly. So what the farmer will do? He will leave that land and he will go to another place. That's why it is called as shifting agriculture. It is also called as slash and burn agriculture. In some local languages, it is called as zooming type of agriculture. Okay, now it is banned by our government as it is causing environmental damage. Okay, now in this agriculture, there will be double cropping. Double means more than one crop will be grown. Sometimes there will be multiple cropping also. Okay, multiple means not one crop grown in a farm, but now let us say here you are growing chili. Okay, now suppose this is one row where you are growing chilies. Then in another row he might be growing tomatoes. Okay, so in this way more than one crop will be grown in a same farm. That will be your multiple cropping. Crop rotation, that means, dear students, what happens when crops are grown in a farm? Okay, the soil loses fertility. Okay, now there are some plants which are called as pulses, and these pulses have capacity to increase the fertility of soil. Okay, and how that happens we will be studying separately when we study about the food crops. But now remember that pulses have capacity to increase the nitrogen content of the soil, and that means when you grow the pulses, the nitrogen content will grow, and when you cut pulses, and in that land when you are going to grow another crop, for that crop the nitrogen is available naturally. Okay, so after that another crop grows over there, you will cut that crop, and in that soil now he will grow the pulses again, so that the fertility of the soil increase again. So this is called as crop rotation, and the farmers hardly keep their land fallow. Now remember this word fallow. Fallow means farmers, they grow the crops in the soil, but after 4 to 5 years time they do not grow the crop over there, because after growing crops repeatedly the soil start losing the fertility. So farmers, what they do, they keep that land without cultivation for 2 to 3 years, so that the natural fertility process of the soil fertility process of the soil gets activated and soil start regaining its fertility. Now, but in intensive agriculture, the farmer will not do that. He will not keep his land. That means he will not keep his land unused. He will keep on growing the crops repeatedly in order to increase the income. Now, after we study this, dear student, okay, now let us look at commercialization of agriculture. Now, what do you mean by commercialization of agriculture? It means now the farmers are looking at agriculture not only to fulfill the need of the family, but agriculture as an occupation where you earn profit, where you look at agriculture as a business. Okay, that is called as commercialization of agriculture, where variety of crops will be grown using fertilizers, using irrigation facility, using pesticides, using modern seeds. Modern seeds means the HYV, that is high yield variety of seeds, hybrid seeds. He will use the scientific technology in order to increase the overall production, so that he can earn lot of profit. We call it by the name commercialization of agriculture. Now, in intensive agriculture, okay, where you are now looking at agriculture as a business, now you need lot of amount of income, and this intensive agriculture, please remember the meaning of the word intensive agriculture is too much agriculture done in same piece of land year after year, year after year. One crop, two crop, even three crops are grown in the same piece of land in 1 year, and in order to do that you require a lot of labor force. Now this intensive agriculture is mainly done in a country where population is very high. Okay, instead of saying the population is very high, we also say it is done in a land hungry country. Okay, it is generally done in densely populated region, and in such a densely populated region, now if you look at the workers, dear students, okay, they seem to be quite poor people, you know? So the cheap labor, okay, labor who are ready to work at less amount of money are easily available for carrying out agriculture. So farmer in intensive agriculture will use lot of labor force in order to increase the overall income. Okay, dear students, so in this way subsistence agriculture basically means growing the crops in order to fulfill the need of his family. But now farmers are looking at agriculture, which is subsistence science, even through commercial point of view, where they want to increase the overall income, increase the production of the crop, and for doing that they are using fertilizers and other modern techniques in order to increase the income. Now second agriculture, okay, is now commercial farming. Now commercial means here the ultimate aim is only profit and profit and profit. Okay, here farmers will not use the production for growing the crops for his family, but they are growing it from the point of view of getting the maximum profit for himself. Now in commercial agriculture, again there are two types. One is intensive commercial agriculture and second one is extensive commercial agriculture. Now let us look at this intensive commercial agriculture. Now in intensive commercial agriculture, farmer may not have a very big piece of land. Okay, now if his, now let us say this is one farm and let us say this is another farm. Okay, now if I have a small farm and my aim is to get the maximum income, so what will I do? In this small piece of land, I will use all the modern techniques. I will use excellent fertilizer, pesticides, I will use fertilizers, and I will use variety of modern techniques in order to increase the income and in order to get maximum income compared to the second piece of land, which is very huge piece of land. If I want to get the income equal to the second land here, then that means I will have to do a lot of agriculture, tremendous amount of agriculture in a same piece of land. We call it by the name intensive commercial farming, whereas extensive commercial farming is done on huge piece of land, huge, very big farms. We call it by the name extensive commercial agriculture or farming. Now in extensive commercial farming, dear students, okay, the farmers are going to grow the crops where he is, now this agriculture is highly commercialized, okay, and here bulk of the production, maximum production is done on very huge piece of land, okay, where he is growing maybe let us say wheat or rice or maybe some cash crops, and he is selling them in order to earn maximum income. Okay, now in this extensive commercial farming, the production is low per unit of land. Per unit of land means per hectare. Per hectare means, now please remember, 1 hectare is a piece of a land which is 100 meter by 100 meter. This is called as 1 hectare. Okay, now in extensive farming, a farmer may be having about 250 hectares of land, but from every single hectare of land the production, okay, is comparatively low. That means from 1 hectare the amount of production of the crop is relatively low. So productivity per unit area remains very low, but because the size of the farm is very big, so the overall production will be very high, and in this way the farmers will be able to get a lot of income. Now this farming, as I told you, is highly commercialized, and in extensive type of farming, farmers don't grow 2 or 3 crops. He grows only 1 crop in 1 year, and same crop he keep on growing year after year after year. So this is how these farmers are specialized in production of 1 crop. Okay, then these farms are, as I said, very huge in size. About 250 hectares is a very huge size of farm. So in such a huge farm, they are going to use machines, because then they will save the human labor and maximum production here will be done using the machines, because this agriculture, as I told you, is commercial agriculture, where farmer is growing the crops in order to earn the maximum profit. Now next type of farming that we are going to look at is now mixed farming. Now please remember, mixed farming does not mean growing 2 to 3 crops together. Okay, it's not mixed farming. When farming is done, dear students, okay, where along with agriculture, a farmer is keeping animals also, rearing animals also. We call it mixed farming. So mixed farming is growing crops and at the same time raising animals to get additional income. We call it by the name mixed farming. Now, what are the characteristics of this farming? Now, the farmers are going to use advanced technology in this farming, best quality of seeds, advanced technology. The farmer will also carry out crop rotation. We have seen what is crop rotation. Okay, and actually this mixed farming is mainly done in developed nations, but now it is also being done in our country also. Okay, now look at this picture, dear students. You will find that this farmer, okay, this lady is having a farm in the background, and when she is having this farm, she is also rearing here some chicken, hen. Okay, so here what farmers actually do, they carry out agriculture, but at the very same time they are also keeping sheep, goat, cows, buffaloes and other animals in order to get additional income. And in case of crop failure, of course, dear student, okay, the income from the animals will definitely be helpful in supporting the farmer. Okay, so now let us look at another agriculture. Okay, now it is called as plantation agriculture. Now please remember, it is one of the very modern agriculture. Remember student, this is one of the very modern agriculture, plantation agriculture, which is done on very huge farms, very huge, which are generally more than 100 acres, very huge size of land, very huge size of farm. Now in this farm, a farmer is going to grow only one crop. I repeat, only one crop, okay, for 30 to 35 years. Now example, tea crop. So once a piece of land is selected, he will start planting here tea crop. Okay, and once this tea crop is grown, he will be keep on getting the income from this farm for next 30 to 35 years. Now in order to carry out such a maintenance of such a huge farm, in order to collect the production from here, of course the farmer will require very huge labor force. So whenever agriculture is done on a very huge size farm where only one crop is grown for many years, we call it by the name plantation agriculture. And dear students, these huge farms are also called as estates. Okay, now look at this. You will find here a piece of land is selected on a mountain slope, and these trees that you are seeing over here are rubber plants. Okay, now in this area they will go not hundreds but thousands of rubber plants, very huge in number. The plants will be grown and the production from here will be utilized for the purpose of sale, for the purpose of even export. Okay, now on these farms, as I said, you require very huge number of labor force. And dear students, this farming is done with a great modern technology. Great modern technology. Lot of fertilizers are used, pesticides are used, good variety of seeds are used, and here the ultimate purpose is to get maximum income for the purpose of export or for selling in domestic market. Now in this estate, they not only grow the crop, but they will also process the crop. So cultivation, harvesting, processing. Now what do I mean by that? Now look here, this is a rubber plant. Okay, the latex is extracted and now this latex is converted into raw rubber. Okay, so what they have done, so they have not only grown here the crop, they have, after harvesting, they have even processed this here itself. So these all processes are done in a single farm, dear students, that is called as estate, and it is a very important characteristic of plantation farming, okay, which is highly mechanized. Now imagine now this early morning, the farmer has to go give cut on the plants, collect the juice from this plant, then from this plant and this plant and this plant, and in this way you will require very huge labor force in order to carry out the farming, which is called as plantation farming in this case. Now let us look at some of the problems of Indian agriculture. Now as we have already seen that our country's population is very high. So what happens that this farm, dear students, over a period of time gets divided among the descendant of the farmers, among his children and children's children and children's children, and in this way the size of the land for every person go on decreasing. In this way the size of the farm, dear students, go on decreasing with each generation. So in this way the first problem of Indian agriculture is small piece of land. Now in this small piece of land, dear student, he cannot use modern machines, he cannot use modern technology because the size of the farm itself is small. Now many farmers in our country are poor and they do not have good knowledge, and they are therefore using poor quality seeds, because of which the overall production will also decrease. And that is why our government has established National Seed Corporation in the year 1963 in order to provide better quality seeds to the farmer. Then because most of the farmers are poor, they do not use very good fertilizer or other agricultural techniques because of poverty. Then another problem with our agriculture is pests and diseases. Now dear students, as I already told you that our Indian farmers are basically poor. So because these farmers are poor, they are uneducated. So because they are uneducated, or you can say they are untrained, so they do not have proper knowledge of using the pesticides, herbicides that are used to control the diseases, and because of that improper use of these chemicals, the crops are also getting harmed. Okay, now the next problem of our Indian agriculture is traditional upbringing of the farmer. What does it mean? It means most of the farmers, okay, they keep on using age-old technology, and because they are so obsessed, they are so in love with their ways of carrying out agriculture, that they don't like to bring out the changes. This is called traditional upbringing, and because of this they do not like to adopt the new things, new technology, because of their traditional upbringing. Then we already know that in our country the rainfall is erratic. Erratic means which is not very much reliable, which is a little mad type of you can say rainfall, because either it rains very heavily or sometimes it rains very less, and in both the cases the crop is going to suffer. Then because the population of our country is increasing very rapidly, therefore on a small piece of land the farmer has to keep on growing the crops repeatedly in order to supply food grains to the large population of our country, which is putting pressure on this land. And because of repeated growth of the crops in the same land, the fertility of the land has also started decreasing, which has ultimately resulted into low productivity of our agriculture. Okay, now if we look at this picture, dear student, you will find that here either, as I said, the rainfall is very low, so it will result into the death of these crops, or you can say excessive rainfall will also cause damage to the crops. So that both are the problems of our agriculture. Then in a small piece of land which is also fragmented, okay, you can see here in such a small pieces of the land, fragmented pieces of the land, use of modern equipments become very difficult, and because of that the production also decreases. Excessive pressure of population, increasing population, is resulting into poor yield, as I already told you, because when the population will increase, farmer will try to grow maximum crops, and in order to do that he has to use a lot of fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, that will ultimately result into land degradation, spoilage of land. Okay, then we can also see one more picture here, that when you are going to use a lot of fertilizers, especially chemical fertilizers, then the land start becoming salty. Okay, actually remember students, the fertilizers are having base in it. Okay, base, and soil does consist of some amount of acid, and you must have studied that when acid and base combine, it results into formation of salt and water. So when the water will get evaporated, so the land will become saline. Saline means salty, and such a salty land, dear student, is not good for agriculture. Okay, then ignorance of a farmer, it means many farmers are not aware that they can use cow dung in order to produce manure. So what do? So they use this cow dung in order to make the cow dung cake, which is then ultimately these cakes are burnt, and that is also causing pollution. So instead of using cow dung to make biogas or to make organic manure, they burn it due to ignorance. Okay, ignorance matlab lack of knowledge. And when the farmer are untrained, now if you look at this farmer, we can make out that he doesn't seem to be an educated person, and when uneducated people are given the pesticides and fertilizers to use, they may use it in a improper way. Now suppose this pesticide is sprayed on this farm in excess quantity because of lack of knowledge, then the crop itself will get damaged, chemicals will enter into the crop, and when such crops are consumed by the people, by you and me, it will have health related issues in our body. Okay, now therefore now there is a need to carry out agricultural reform. That means we have to find now solutions to the problems of our agriculture, and our government has adopted a technology called Green Revolution technology. Now what is this Green Revolution technology, dear students? Please remember, it is a process in which now we have to look at agriculture as a business, and here we are now going to grow the crops with scientific way, scientific technology, and in order to do that, government has to take some steps. Okay, so what are those steps, dear students, our government has taken in order to carry out this Green Revolution technology, which is a solution for the problems of our Indian agriculture? So look at this Green Revolution technology first. Okay, Now this green revolution technology was started in our country after the independence, and in this technology the first thing the farmer will be asked to use high yield yielding variety of seed. Okay, HYV means high yielding variety of seeds, which are also hybrid seeds, which are also better seeds. So better the seeds, better will be the production, and in this way the overall production will be increased and problem of food will be solved. Then our government has started irrigation facilities. They have started bringing lot of land under irrigation, and they are also now providing loan to the farmers in order to make arrangement for this irrigation facility. Then government is also educating the farmers in the use of insecticides and pesticides, and of course fertilizers. Okay, educating the farmers by opening agricultural universities. Now agricultural university will be a place, dear students, where farmers will be trained to use new technology. Then government, as I said, is providing loan, and that loan farmers will be using in order to buy and use modern tools and modern implements. So modern tools and modern implements will also be helpful in carrying out agricultural operations in a better way, and if it is done in a better way, the overall production will increase. Okay, now also our government has now because of all these steps which are taken, dear students, taken by the government as well as which are being now implemented, due to all this our country has become self-sufficient in food grain production, and you will be happy to know that the production of the crop has increased from the same piece of land even 4 times. It means if a farm was giving you 1000 kilogram of food grain, now it has started giving you even 4000 kilogram of food grain. That is a very big benefit of green revolution technology. Okay, so green revolution technology basically includes use of modern seeds, implements, tools, fertilizers, irrigation facilities, and in order to do that you need money. So government has started providing loan to the farmer. Government has started the many agricultural universities in order to train the farmers, and because of that the overall food production is increasing in our country. Okay, so this technology was initially started in Punjab and in Haryana and also in Uttar Pradesh, because there the land is definitely very fertile, and because perennial rivers are present there, so irrigation there is not a big problem. So therefore this technology was initially started in Punjab, Haryana and in Uttar Pradesh. Then some other measures are also taken besides this green revolution technology, dear students. Now what happens when farmers grow the crops? Okay, the most important factor in their mind will be to get the good price for their crop. So now government has started giving assurance to the farmer that the crop will be purchased at a desirable rate. That means it will not be too high, neither it will be too low. So because of this, what will happen? The farmers will be encouraged, or they will have guarantee that yes, they will not be deceived. So this price assurance means they get a assurance, they get a promise from the government that the farmer will get a better price for their crop. Okay, now as we have seen, as the agricultural production has increased even to 4 times, that means there is a bumper harvest, very large amount of harvest. Now to store it without damaging it, you require a better place. So government has started the storing and preserving facilities are also being provided, where crops will be stored, they will be preserved in order to stop their wastage or in order to stop their damage. Okay, and one more very important thing, the farmers are now getting easy access to loan facilities. Okay, these loans are made available to the farmer at cheap rate. Okay, cheap rate. And because it is available at cheap rate, the farmer now doesn't have to depend on money lenders, and this loan is also given at cheap rate. So farmers are now assured that yes, they can use the modern techniques and they can also purchase the modern tools and implements and fertilizers and seeds. So in this way, the easy access to the loan has also resulted into better agricultural production in our country. Okay, so in this way, dear students, we realize that not only the farmer has to do the work hard, but even government is also helping the farmers. Then there is something called land consolidation. Okay, what does this mean? It means now if these are the small farms, okay, so government is providing them the loan facility, so farmer can purchase the other pieces of land, and in this way the size of the land will be better, more, and because of that bigger size farm, farmer can use the modern implements, modern machines in such a farms. So government is also providing better irrigation to them, and because of that the overall production is also increasing. Now there is something called cooperative farming, dear students, where now suppose these are the farms. Now they are now this is belonging to one farmer, second farmer, third farmer, and now this one farmer wants to buy these two pieces of land, but the others are not ready to sell. So his farm cannot become a big farm, as I said over here. So then government says, instead of now doing that, you can carry out cooperative farming, means all these farmers together have to look at the land as the single land and grow the crop over there and divide the profit that they are going to earn from this. This is called as cooperative farming. Okay, dear students, and the very important point over here is farmers are now being educated in a better way with modern scientific knowledge, and in this way, when all these steps are taken, the problems of our Indian agriculture are going to definitely get eliminated, and in this way the overall production will increase and in a better way for us. So that will also be helpful in making it sure that no one in our country, okay, no one in our country remains without food. Okay, so not only we will be able to fulfill the demands for food in our country, but India will be also in a now better position to export the agricultural products. Okay, so may God bless you abundantly. Thank you.